Hey, what's up guys? This is Sam, and I'm the Director of Equities at Simpler Trading. And today we're going to be making a short video on the question of if you should date paper trade or not. Now, before we dive in, all my cards on the table, I've actually never paper traded anything in my life. But I do think that there might be a couple of reasons to do so, and then I also think there's about a million reasons that you shouldn't. Or maybe not that you shouldn't, but that you should be very quickly transitioning out of the paper trading phase into actual trading. So let me go ahead and dive in here. I'll try to cover the pros and the cons, but I do want you to know where I stand before the video starts, and that is I've personally never paper traded anything. I think that a huge part of trading is being able to kind of master your own, as much as possible, master your own emotions and master your own position sizing. And paper trading really doesn't capture that element of trading. So let me go ahead and dive in here. I'll give you a couple of pros and I'll give you a couple of cons in terms of paper trading, and then you'll have enough information to make an educated decision in terms of whether it's the correct action for you. So I have a Thinkorswim chain pulled up here, and just have Apple pulled up. And this is just a common kind of run-of-the-mill options chain for Apple, or any stock for that matter. Now, in this instance, you know, if you're new to Thinkorswim, this may look a little bit daunting to you, right? If this is brand new to you, this looks like just a bunch of, I can imagine this would look like very kind of chaotic if it's new to you. If you're brand new to the platform, right, meaning that you literally don't know where to click, then I would definitely suggest learning the platform on the paper trading side of things. Meaning, learn to get around, right? Like, how do I trade November monthly options? Well, I would, knowing the platform, I just click on the November monthly series, it expands. I then have a full plethora of options that I can choose from and trade, right? But if you are new to the platform, you might not know all these things, and you certainly don't want to make any mistakes while you're learning the platform, meaning that you're learning literally where to click and what everything does. And in that instance, I would actually give a +1 or a point to paper trading, right? If you're brand new to a new platform, it does make sense to paper trade so that you can learn how the platform, the user interface on the platform actually works. Point number one. Point number two that would be beneficial for paper trading is if you're testing out a brand new strategy. So let's say, for example, here on Apple, let's say I wanted to do something a little bit complex. Let's say buy a unbalanced butterfly, right? Now, many of you are familiar with butterflies. Maybe some of you aren't, no big deal. But maybe less of you are familiar with unbalanced butterflies and kind of the characteristics of how doing that trade would change the overall fly structure, right? So in this instance, let's just say I want to do that. I click down there. It gives me a result down here in terms of what the trade will look like. I'll get a chance to kind of play around with the strikes, play around with the expirations, and obviously play around with the number of contracts. Now, if you're going to be testing a brand new strategy like this, right? Let's say whatever the strategy is. In this instance, I just chose unbalanced butterfly, but it could be an iron fly, it could be an iron condor, it could be a ratio spread, it could be anything that you're just unfamiliar with how the strategy will actually work once it's live in a live environment. Then it makes sense to paper trade, right? So in this instance, let's say I didn't know how this unbalanced butterfly would look. You could certainly, number one, throw it into the Analyze tab, or B, just, and I actually would prefer this, set it up on a paper side of your platform, and then just execute the trade, and on the paper side, of course, and just see how it goes, right? And then that way you're both learning the platform and you're learning a little bit more about the strategy itself. So let me think if there's anything else that would be good for paper trading. Honestly, that's really all I can think of. There might be more that I'm missing, but for myself, really those are the two main ones. Either A, you're brand new to the platform and you're just figuring out the user interface. In that sense, it makes sense to paper trade because you don't want to click the wrong thing and cost yourself money when you don't have to. So once you're more familiar with the platform, then you can just jump over to real trading. Or B, you're testing a new strategy and you don't want to use it, you don't want to test it using real money quite just yet because you're totally unfamiliar with it. So you could set it up on the paper trading side of things and then just test it out with no concerns of, of anything going wrong really. So those are the two pros for paper trading. Now let me cover kind of the wide number of negatives in my opinion, and I'll try to be brief. Number one, a huge part of trading is self-discipline, and it is controlling your emotions, especially when you have real money at stake. The problem with paper trading, and the reason that I've never ever been drawn to it and I've never actually even done it, is because it doesn't capture the live element of actual trading, right? So there is a difference between practice and real life, right? So for example, there's no substitute for getting shot at. You know what I mean? So if you're practicing and no one's shooting at you, and then you go into the real environment, you're used to practicing with no one shooting at you in a very calm environment, but the live environment's very hectic, fast-moving, and chaotic and emotional. It's not going to help you, right? Because you've conditioned yourself and your trading and yourself to thrive in a low-stress environment. Number one. Number two, outside of just learning the platform, like for example, where do I click, how do I get these columns different, just all these little things that could be in the platform, hopefully that'll come quickly, right? And then in terms of testing your strategies or testing trades that you want to take, you are always able to risk a very small amount when setting up a trade. So for example, I'll just use the unbalanced butterfly here. If I just were to set this up 5 wide here, it's going to cost me 20 cents, right? Now if I really wanted to test the strategy, I think it's worth 20 cents to test the strategy, right? You don't want to do big size, obviously, if you're just testing a strategy, especially with real money. But I'm a very big fan of I'm a very big advocate of testing your strategies and yourself, frankly, in a live trading environment with as much stress on you as possible, because that's going to be the conditions that you live in as a trader pretty much the rest of your life, right? So I'm a very big fan of, or again, advocate of doing all the things that you would normally do in a paper trading account, just doing them very small in a cash account, right? If you're unsure of a strategy, do it very small. Do one contract, very small, test it out. If you're unfamiliar with how an options chain works, again, do the same thing. Trade it very small, one contract, and then just watch it like a hawk, and at least you'll get a chance to approximate being in a higher stress environment. Because if you ever decide to do something bigger, let's say you were to just do a much bigger trade, or you were to do this trade and you were to do, let's say, 10 contracts instead of just one, you want your physiology and your psychology to be ready for it, right? You want your psychology and your physiology to be ready for a high stress environment, and you want to be able to have the mental and emotional maturity to both be able to size your trades accordingly in the live environment, as well as be able to take them off if they ever start going against you, right? So that brings me to my third and last point. When you're paper trading an account, it's not real money, right? Now, Captain Obvious, I know, but when you're not dealing with real money, you're going to be using much bigger sizing. You'll start to develop, in my opinion, bad habits. I've rarely seen somebody that's a paper trader that ever has paper traded anything that has not developed a bad habit in terms of either A, sizing their trade way too big and they don't care because if it wins they feel good because their paper profits are way up, or B, sizing too big and then they hold on too long because they don't care because they're not actually losing any money. Right? So hopefully this all is somewhat helpful to you in terms of understanding when you should paper trade and when you shouldn't. I'm an advocate that you shouldn't paper trade. Once you know your platform and you have a set number of strategies, I actually don't advocate paper trading at all, because again, in my opinion, it breeds bad habits, and it breeds habits and it conditions the body and the mind to trade under conditions that just aren't realistic. Once you are ready to trade live, you will have live money at risk. It will be emotional. It will be, chaotic sometimes, right? And you have to be able to be calm through that storm. And the only way that you're able to be calm during those moments is if you've experienced those moments in the past. So the faster that you can transition from paper trading to actual live trading, I think the better you'll do, and the faster that you'll grow as a trader. Alright guys, that's my time on this one. Hopefully I'll see you for another video. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers. Hey guys, this is Sam, and I'm the Director of Equities at Simpler Trading. I want to thank you for watching this video, and before you go somewhere else on the YouTube, I'd like to ask that you comment and like the video. It really does help us out with the algorithm and getting the message out to more folks who like to see our content. Also, be sure to click the bell notification and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss anything that comes out. If you want to watch us trade in real time using our own money, come over to simplertrading.com and learn how to sign up. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you for the next video. Cheers.